The leader of the extremist and the terrorist organization in Lebanon, Hezbollah, is no more.
Major developing story out of the Middle East. Hezbollah has confirmed its leader, Hassan Nasrallah, is dead.
Yesterday, September the 27th, 2024, Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of the Hezbollah terrorist organization and one of its founders, was eliminated by the IDF together with a top commander, Ali Karaki. He was Hezbollah's Southern Front commander, alongside other additional Hezbollah commanders. The IDF say they were targeting Hezbollah's central headquarters, what they say of the Hezbollah terrorist organization, following precise intelligence from the IDF and Israeli security establishment. Say it was located underground, embedded under a residential building in the suburb of Dahia in southern Beirut. The strike was conducted while Hezbollah's senior chain of command, they say, were operating from the headquarters and advancing terrorist activities against the citizens of the State of Israel.
Well, this was a major momentum shift last night across the entire Middle East. This is something that Lebanese are cheering, that Syrians are cheering. You got to remember Hezbollah took part in the civil war there that led to the slaughter of tens of thousands. The Israelis are obviously cheering it. There are Iranians that are cheering it. By the way, Americans and French who suffered from Hezbollah attacks should also be cheering this. But this is significant. This is a man who led Hezbollah, one of the world's most formidable terrorist organizations. Hassan Nasrallah was in that chair since 1992, 32 years of running this organization, developing it into a really formidable force, one that has 200,000 rockets, that has essentially held the Middle East hostage on behalf of Iran. This is an Iranian subsidiary. And so now he's gone. A lot of the other top leaders are gone. The Israelis are now openly mulling a possible ground operation in South Lebanon to finally take care of the threat that I think you rightly note has gone unnoted here in our media. Hezbollah has fired something like 8,000 rockets, missiles, and drones at Israel since October 7th. It's a war in its own right, and you finally see the Israelis turning the tide after 11 months. It's really a remarkable day.
Also at this point, something which is not mentioned by the media, especially the media, the pro-Hezbollah, pro-Iranian and pro-Hamas, is the fact that the extremists' actions the last 60 years had more than 1 million victims all around the world. From those 1 million victims, 290,000 were died after bombings in schools, in churches, in hospitals, all over the world. Kids, babies, old women, old men, families, buses with school kids, athletes during events, even during the Olympics. This person, Nasrallah, who is no more, had given the orders for thousands deaths. His blood is on his hands. The blood of the victims is on his hands, or better say, was at his hands. Now he went to find the rest of his team, which recently were deleted. Better use that words, because the algorithm in YouTube suspends channels, especially these years that we live, where you see that extremists are getting support from people who are ignorant and they never studied history. Let's continue our research on the news about this big day for the whole world.
Negotiation is the goal, and of course there was this U.S.-led effort for a 21-day ceasefire still underway when this strike happened here. Who is there to negotiate with? If Israel is going after senior leadership right up to Nasrallah, who would Israel be negotiating a path to peace, as it were?
Path to peace is a big word, but
or at least a path to ceasefire.
Path to ceasefire and for civilians to.
I have to stop the video here to bring to your attention that the journalist is making a question to Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Connericus, which is from Israel and is very famous for the facts and the good news he's providing. So the journalist is asking him, now that you kill the leader, you're not able to negotiate. And the funny, like most of the time, most of the questions of the journalists are funny. The funny is that it's like saying to Israel that you shouldn't have killed the leader. But he doesn't mention that this leader, he had so many years time to negotiate with Israel, and especially now he had 11 months since Hezbollah started sending rockets in Israel to negotiate. Israel was lucky and smart enough to eliminate, and at the same time the journalists tried to provide evidence and to show that it was not good. Of course, they want to get the views from pro-Hamas and pro-Hezbollah. This is very obvious.
Be able to return to their homes, which is what Israel is looking for. I think negotiations, the ultimate aim of these negotiations are Tehran. Decisions are made in Beirut, and Hezbollah used to have or has certain level of agency, but at the end of the day, the cardinal decisions are made in Tehran, and this action that Israel just did puts the ball squarely in the Iranian court, and they now have to decide how will they respond. Will they go all in, even though the current situation is not very favorable for Hezbollah in terms of leadership, morale, etc.? Do they go all in and compare their efforts to what Israel has done, or do they decide to de-escalate? What Israel has been adamant about is that it must be cut. The relationship between Lebanon and Gaza has no logical standing. It should be severed, and that what Israel wants to do is to return its people home. This isn't about taking the litany or having coffee in Beirut. This is about allowing Israelis to go back to their homes.
Before we go, Israel must be calculating what is the most likely response from Hezbollah and perhaps Iran to this attack. Do you expect a massive attack, a massive retaliation from Hezbollah or Iran, or perhaps both?
I think that the Iranians are so calculated and strategic and disciplined that they will, in this time as well, not take the opportunity, and they will wait it out and not engage directly with Israel, mostly in fear of Israeli retaliation to their national assets. I think that Hezbollah cannot let an attack like this go unanswered, and I think that they will use large and lethal objectives, and they will fire at central cities in Israel. I think that's pretty much a given. Once they get out of the rubble and get their command and control back into working condition, if and when they do that. And I think we should expect at least a few days of escalation. But then ultimately, what does Iran want? Do they want the path of escalation, or will they be willing to say, okay, we've had a good year of bleeding Israel and fighting against Israel, we'll now regroup behind other lines and perhaps let the dust settle. Israelis will return to their homes. It's in their court now.